Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are wrestling with one of the most powerful, really universal archetypes in human culture. The story of separation, wandering, and that profound redemptive journey of homecoming.
It really is. It's this foundational human craving, isn't it? That sense of belonging, of returning to some kind of wholeness that we feel we've lost.
Yeah, whether you frame it spiritually or psychologically, the narrative of the lost child finding their way back just resonates everywhere.
Absolutely. And we're focusing on two massive examples today from, well, radically different traditions.
Right. We've got the famous Christian parable, the Prodigal Son, from Luke's gospel, and then the Mahayana Buddhist parable of the wealthy man and his poor son from the Lotus Sūtra.
And, on the surface, they look kind of similar. Father lost son, return. Pretty straightforward.
But that's where it gets interesting. Our goal here is to go deeper than that surface similarity.
Exactly. We want to do a precise comparison to show how they're built on fundamentally, divergent foundations. One is all about this radical external divine grace.
And the other?
The other's about patient internal self-realization. Gnosis, essentially.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with the prodigal son, Luke 15. The drama kicks off with an act that is frankly shocking.
Oh, it's profound. A profound act of rebellion and disrespect. The younger son demands his inheritance now.
And in that society, first century Palestine, well, that just didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Inheritance came after the father died.
Precisely. Asking early. It was like saying, Dad, I wish you were dead. It's a public severing of the family bond. He wants the stuff, not the relationship.
So he grabs the cash, heads off to a distant country, and predictably just blows it all. Reckless living.
But the depth of his fall is really key here. The specific degradation he hits when he's broke, he ends up feeding pigs.
And for a Jewish audience, pigs are ritually unclean. That's rock bottom.
It's the absolute lowest point. He's completely cut off socially, religiously, even physically from everything he knew. He's so alienated, he's actually jealous of the pig's food.
That total humiliation, though, it sets the stage for what happens next, for the father's radical response.
Right, because his decision to return isn't exactly driven by noble repentance initially, it's desperation.
He realizes even the hired hands back home have it better. So he comes to himself, decides to go back, and even rehearses this little speech.
Yes, that transactional speech. I've sinned, I'm not worthy, just make me a servant.
He's planning to sort of earn his way back into the lowest possible position.
But the father, he completely flips the script, that prepared speech.
He doesn't even let him finish it. The father sees him still a long way off and does something utterly scandalous for an elderly patriarch. He runs.
I mean, just picture that. The head of the household probably hiking up his robes, losing all dignity in front of everyone, just running to his son.
It hammers home just how radical this grace is. It's preemptive. It's unconditional. He doesn't wait for the full confession. He interrupts the whole transaction the son had planned.
Exactly. And then calls for the best robe restoring honor, a ring restoring authority, and sandals.
Which slaves wouldn't wear. So full sonship, not servitude.
Yep, really. Full reinstatement. No probation, no earning it back.
So if we boil it down, the core problem here is sin. Willful rebellion, breaking that relationship.
And the solution, it's unmerited grace, a pure gift coming from outside, from the loving Father, instantaneous rescue.
Okay, hold that thought external. Instantaneous rescue. Now let's pivot hard to the Lotus Sūtra, because this homecoming story, well, it's a very different journey. It takes a long time.
Oh, completely different psychology at play. This is an epic of ignorance and incredibly patient strategy.
So how does this son leave?
He runs away when he's young. But unlike the prodigal, he doesn't take any money. He just leaves, maybe out of fear or immaturity, and he wanders for 50 years. 50, living in absolute poverty.
50 years. Meanwhile, the father moves away and becomes incredibly wealthy.
Right. Immensely wealthy. Builds this huge estate in another city.
Okay, so half a century later, the son, now ragged, poor, exhausted, he just happens to stumble upon his father's massive estate.
Right. And the father, sitting there in splendor, recognizes him immediately. But the son...
He doesn't recognize the father.
Not at all. He sees the wealth, the guards, the power, and he's terrified. He tries to run away.
Wait, why terror? Wouldn't a starving man be relieved to find such a place? Maybe hope for a job, some food?
Because 50 years of poverty have crushed him. He's forgotten who he really is. His core problem isn't moral guilt like the prodigal son. It's this deep ingrained sense of worthlessness. Low self-esteem doesn't even cover it.
So he sees this rich guy and thinks he'll seize me, force me into labor. He can't conceive of belonging there.
Exactly. It's fundamentally an epistemological problem, a failure of knowing his true identity. He literally cannot believe he could deserve anything good, let alone that level of wealth.
Okay, so the father's reaction has to be completely different from the prodigal's father. No running out, no instant robe and ring.
No way. The father realizes quite brilliantly that a direct approach, son, you're home, would absolutely terrify him. The son would bolt and never come back.
So what does he do? This requires incredible patience.
It's the perfect example of upaya skillful means. The father knows the direct truth would be rejected, so even though he's overjoyed inside, he holds back. He sends some servants, disguised in plain clothes, to offer the son the absolute lowest, dirtiest job imaginable, clearing away dung and filth from the estate, but at double the normal wages.
Double wages for cleaning dung. Why that specific job? Why not something slightly nicer?
Because the father intuits that this job matches the son's current extremely low self-assessment. It's something the son can accept without feeling overwhelmed or suspicious. He thinks, okay, this fits. This is my level.
The father's meeting him precisely where he is, psychologically.
Wow. And this work, this menial labor, it's actually therapeutic. It's practice.
Right. So this isn't just about waiting. It's an active, strategic path. The son takes the job.
He does. And he works diligently at it for 20 years.
20 years cleaning dung.
Well, he starts there. He works hard, gains confidence. The father even comes down sometimes, dresses plainly, works alongside him, encourages him, calls him my man. Slowly, gradually, he gets promoted.
So he moves up.
Yes, eventually he's managing the entire estate, all the treasures. But here's the thing. Even then, he still lives humbly in a small hut nearby. He still thinks of himself as just a hireling, maybe a trusted manager, but not the heir.
He still hasn't realized who he is, even after all that time and success within the estate.
Not fully. The final public declaration, this is my son, this is the heir, all this is his, only happens right at the very end when the father perceives the son is finally psychologically ready to accept it. His self-perception has been transformed through those decades of practice and growing responsibility.
Okay, this is clearly more than just a nice story. This patient, strategic nurturing. It sounds like a map for a whole spiritual system. How does this parable fit into the bigger picture of Mahayana Buddhism?
It fits perfectly. It's practically a textbook illustration of the concept of Buddha nature, or Tathagata.
Buddha nature. Okay, what exactly is that?
It's the teaching that every single sentient being, you, me, everyone, already possesses the innate, immortal, and inherently pure potential for full Buddhahood. It's like an embryo of enlightenment already fully formed right inside us, a timeless essence.
Whoa. Okay, so the implication is huge. We don't become Buddhas, we just have to uncover the fact that we already are Buddhas deep down.
That's the core idea. You don't acquire Buddhahood, you realize it.
But then, if our true nature is already pure and enlightened, why all the suffering? Why the 50 years wandering in poverty, metaphorically speaking? Where does that come from? Is that the ignorance part?
Precisely. The suffering isn't caused by inherent sin in the Christian sense, which implies a kind of stain on the soul. It's caused by what are called adventitious defilements, klesha in Sanskrit. Think of them as temporary obscuration.
Adventitious, meaning they aren't part of our essential nature. They do kind of stick to us.
Exactly. The main one is ignorance avidya. It's a cognitive error, a fundamental misperception of reality, especially about our own nature. These defilements are like clouds obscuring the sun.
Ah, okay. The sun is always there, always brilliant, but the clouds temporarily hide it.
Perfect analogy. The clouds hide the sun, but they don't stain the sun. They don't change the sun's nature. Our inherent Buddha nature remains pure, untarnished, underneath all the confusion and suffering.
I love the metaphors they use for this in the text, like a hidden treasure buried under a poor person's house. They own it, they just don't know it's there.
Right. Or a nugget of pure gold that falls into a filthy pit. The gold stays gold, the filth doesn't permeate it. Or a golden statue wrapped in dirty rags.
So the spiritual path isn't about creating the gold or building the statue.
No, it's about removing the dirt, washing off the filth, taking off the dirty rags. It's purification, subtraction, not addition.
Which brings us back to the parable. Those 20 years the son spent clearing dung and managing the estate, that was the purification process.
Yes, that was the practice needed to clear away the dirt of his ignorance and worthlessness. It wasn't earning the Father's love or the inheritance in a transactional way. It was making himself capable of recognizing and accepting the truth of his identity when it was finally revealed.
So the time and the labor were essential to dismantle that deep-seated belief, I'm not worthy.
Exactly. The goal is realization, waking up to the truth that was there all along.
Okay, let's zoom out again and really put these two visions side by side. The contrast in how they diagnose the core problem is just stark.
It really is, isn't it? The Christian parable, the problem is sin. It's moral, it's relational. Alienation from a personal, loving God.
And the solution?
Grace, an external instantaneous pardon. A gift freely given by the Father based on his love, not the Son's merit, saved from the outside.
Right. The Buddhist parable, the problem is ignorance of Vidya, is cognitive, psychological.
Yeah.
Alienation from your own true, inherent nature.
And the solution there is Gnosis, realization, an internal awakening. It's gradual, cultivated through patient practice and skillful means provided by the Father or teacher, uncovered from within.
That difference comes into really sharp focus when you consider a character who's crucial in the Prodigal Son story, but completely missing in the Buddhist one.
Ah, yes, the older brother.
The one who stayed home, worked hard, followed the rules. He's essential in Luke's gospel, isn't he?
Absolutely essential. He comes in from the field, hears the party, and gets angry. He complains, look, all these years I've slaved for you, never disobeyed. You never even gave me a young goat for a party with my friends.
He represents that whole works-based transactional view of relationship with the Father, right? I did my part, where's my reward?
Precisely. He shows the failure of that mindset. He's the other lost son, physically present, but emotionally and spiritually just as alienated as his brother was, in his own way. His resentment reveals he thinks the Father's love has to be earned.
So the parable needs him there to make the point that both the rule breaker and the self-righteous rule keeper are equally lost and equally in need of unearned grace.
Exactly. Grace transcends both rebellion and self-righteousness. Neither can earn the Father's love, it's just given.
Okay, so if the older brother is so vital for showing grace, Trump's works in the Christian story, why is there no equivalent figure in the Lotus Sūtra parable? Why is he completely absent?
His absence is just as significant as his presence is in Luke. Think about what the Buddhist parable is doing. It's specifically designed to validate that long, difficult path of practice. The 20 years of diligent work, clearing the dung, managing the estate that is the path to self-realization in this story.
So including an older brother complaining about the unfairness after all that work
would completely undermine the parable's core message. It champions spiritual cultivation, effort, and diligence as the necessary means to uncover your true nature. The Buddhist story needs to show that the long path works and is valuable. An older brother figure would contradict that entirely.
That really clarifies the different aims, which also means that the ultimate destination, the meaning of home, is fundamentally different too.
Completely. In the Christian context, home is about relationship. It's being restored to a loving, personal connection with God the Father, reconciled through his grace, dwelling in his presence.
Return to the Father.
Yes. Whereas in the Buddhist context, home is the realization of your own true nature. It's awakening to the fact that you are never truly separate from enlightenment. It's embodying that intrinsic wisdom yourself.
A return to yourself, your true self.
You could put it that way. One homecoming is about an external act of forgiveness leading to restored relationship. The other is about an internal process of discovery leading to self-realization.
Both incredibly profound visions of return, but yeah, very different pathways to feeling whole again. So, thinking about that Lotus Sūtra son, his immense wealth, his true identity, it was his birthright all along. But the Father's great act of compassion wasn't just giving it to him. It was figuring out how to patiently cure the son's deep-seated conviction that he was worthless, that he didn't deserve it. That took time, strategy, that slow therapeutic process. So maybe a thought to leave you with. What inherent truth about yourself, maybe a capacity you have, a wisdom, some kind of inner birthright, might you be unconsciously flamed from, or maybe telling yourself you don't deserve? What internal block, what pile of dung are you perhaps diligently working to clear away? Maybe believing you have to get rid of it all before you can finally claim the whole estate that was yours from the start.
That's a powerful question to reflect on the nature of your own inherent value and what might be obscuring it. Thank you for diving deep with us today.